Okay, I see your chart here in the chat. Can you see it on the screen though, or no? Probably not.
No, I can
What
just
about
see your chart.
what about now? That's weird.
Yeah, I see it now.
Okay, cool. All right, so this is the first chart that you sent me. And okay, drop the fib on there. That's nice. And so you saw a head and shoulder. Now for the buy, do you remember where, like what area you were looking for the buy? Maybe like the fib level, so I can see.
Yeah, it
Is it?
was around
Did
the 78. It was in that wee green, see the green area? That was a daily demand, but I refined it to H4.
okay? So is it on the other chart?
The other one was just the entry that I took
Oh,
off the 15-minute. It was inside that area.
oh, that was pretty nice. Okay, so what happened with this trade? Oh, you missed it. Is that what you said?
Yeah, I had it marked up. I
Wow.
was gonna enter it. I was off, and then yeah, I missed it. So I was pretty gutted.
Wow, that's
As I
actually a
seen it was setting up for a nice Quasimodo, but like it come down and made like a double bottom.
mm-hmm. Yep. Mm-hmm. That is a nice entry. That would have been some nice money. And you see like hopefully you can see my cursor, that like how it broke and it broke way up here to give you that signal. I don't know, was there news around this time at all to draw it back
I
down so
think,
quickly like this?
yeah, I think there may have been some news. I can't remember what it was,
Okay.
but I think yeah, I think
Oh
there
yeah.
was a bit of news came out.
Yep. This is Friday, right? On the 25th. Believe we had some
Yeah,
news. So yep, I like how it pretty much gave you the signal that you needed. You know, you were in your daily zone, you had your trend line marked up, it broke up to the top side to show you the direction that potentially they're planning to go. Most of the time, yeah, this is the signal that they're planning to go. And this could have went straight, up to the trend line. But what it did was is, and that's why I always be like, try to wait for those retests because the retest could be like another confluence or confirmation. But this entry would have been nice as well because you would have actually, caught some money before it pulled back to retest. This could have been a second entry. Once I like to do like a break of the candle, like once it comes to the trend line and then breaks the candle again, I'll like to get into that and then put my stops behind the trend line. Same thing for here. Once it breaks, that this candle actually retested the trend line as well. And then once I would have seen a break of the candle, I'm in for a scalp because I'm a scalper. So like all of this, that's enough because the stop loss is so small, 1 to 2 candles behind the trend line. You see how the candles are so small. That's why I always say like 1 to 2 candles behind the trend line because honestly, if we're yeah even if we're pulling back into this candle right here, it's like that's too much. That's too much. But this was a good trade. Wow, I wish you would have caught that. But as I want you to see it first because that's actually the most important part, seeing it, seeing your markups play out, and then you'll get more organized and be like, hey, I'm gonna drop what do you call it, the alerts. I'm gonna drop an alert in this area so that my phone will ring off when it's ready. Now you might be busy at work and things like that, but hey, maybe you could run to the bathroom and secure entry. But yeah, but that was pretty cool. Was there any others that you had? And I don't know if you're on mute, but
Oh yeah, yeah. I did. I had was it GU or Euro Aussie or something marked up, but that just didn't even come back anywhere near my entry. I just kept dropping and just went. I think that thing's just gonna keep dropping for a while. But that was pretty much the only markup I got that really played out. So I was kind of gutted that I missed it.
yeah, yeah. All right. So you said GU, right?
Uh, GU, I think yes, and I think I had Euro Aussie marked out.
Oh, Euro AD. I got that on here. I'm gonna just pull up Euro AUD. All right, got Euro AD here. You had this one marked up as well. Looked like it was starting to set up for some buys this week.
Yeah, I think I posted it in a group on Friday or Thursday. I think I had it for the sale on the 4 hour or something. I was waiting on it coming back.
Let me see your markups if you could drop it in the chat.
Yeah. Okay.
That'll be great. Because we probably still have the potential to get some moves here. Yeah, it looks like it's setting up for buys. I already see like a
Yeah, that's
huge
it.
head and
I had it setting up for a buy, but it hasn't come down yet. Still a good way off it. Um, there's, there it is in the 4 hour.
all right, let's see what we got here.
Yes, I was Euro CAD I was looking to sell, but it didn't come back to my area yet. But I maybe get it. It's kind of hovering just below the 618 fib level.
All right, so I like that you got your higher time frame trend on there. I like that you are dropping your fibs on there as well. Um, so yeah, come market open for this particular pair EA or whatever, I would be looking for those buys to continue to take profit the negative 27 level. So the key thing to look for when you're trading this one is that we don't break this trend line right here. So what I want you to do is draw a trend line from this point to this point. And if it can, it
Okay.
probably won't touch this area, but we got two touches right here. So draw a trend line under because we don't want it to break the 38.2 level, right? But also at the same time, if you can scale it down to the lower time frame and see if you can get a trend line from this point, something like that for a break, for a
Yeah.
continuation to the upside. Now, of course, what this is the 4 hours, so I do want to show it on my chart, but that just looking at it from a 4 hour standpoint, that's what I'll be looking for this to take that continuation for the buy. And then I have it pulled up here. Can you hear that when that beeps like that? Gotta turn that notification off.
No, I didn't hear a beep.
Oh, okay, cool. All right. So this one's crazy because it's already looking like it's just wanting to go full blast. You see how we had the oversold right here already and right here. Look at a 15. Yeah, we've already made the 15-minute quasi. Do you see it right here? The quasi. And I don't know if you're on mute.
Yeah, sorry, I was muted again. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I see
Yeah.
it. I see Quasimodo there. Yeah, it's just played it. It
Yes.
might still drop a little bit and touch the other side, but
Yeah, we could play in the shoulder area a little
yeah,
bit, but it definitely could just break out. So I'll be looking for that on that one for a buy. And then once it does, yeah, the negative 27 area. Let me see where that will be. It's gonna be a big trade. So yeah, around here, which would make sense because then we got this line right here for this weekly open level. So it'll make sense for it to come here anyways. It does have the potential to hit TP2 as well, of course. And I'm not sure. Well, you're a swing trader anyways, but honestly, if it hits the negative 27, just with how my strategy goes, I would take that profit and then wait because at negative 27, it does like to pull back significantly sometimes before it hits TP2.
yeah,
So that would be a good securing level, and see if it actually does that pullback. But if it starts to play at the TP level and you have a runner, um, if you have a runner, yeah, that would be the only way I would say hold it to TP2 is if you have a runner, and then it depends on how the days go by. If it's like playing at this level and it's like doing like just like some consolidation, and then you get another like lower time frame trend line break, then I would hold it to TP2. But yeah, that looks pretty good as well. Um, that's actually really clean. I might be looking at that myself. Um, but yeah, so let's see. GU I did want to look at because I think we was talking about that one before, and I don't know if that was the one that looked at ugly or if it was AU. But yeah, what
yeah. It
what
was
what
either
would you?
G or GJ, I think.
Yeah, it was looking pretty ugly. What did you want to talk more about, or like that you might be having trouble with?
Uh, well, more I think. Oh, it's kind of just basically like this. I just kind of wanted to make sure I was sort of understanding it because some of them, as I say, well, some of them weren't really playing out. And maybe it was just last week the market's not being great,
Mm-hmm.
but it was kind of yeah, I was just struggling really to find sort of decent setups on it. I was just wondering, was I getting it right? Because I think I was sort of getting it. I think I'm starting to understand it a bit better and get the hang of it.
Okay. Um, Marking up your charts, you look like you have pretty decent markups, and it looks like you're kind of like sticking to like the higher time frame trend lines. I do want you to get to familiarize yourself more with those lower time frame trend lines,
Yeah,
because those are going to be your daily entry um, areas when it breaks the trend line on the lower time frame. So I'll back test with this one right here. Let me uh, just go back. I got this thing marked up heavy. Let me go here. Gotta tell my kids to be quiet because they're getting loud. All right. Then I'm gonna remove this. All right. So if I was looking at GU from this area, I like to have y'all see how I mark my charts up. As if I was coming to the market for the day to trade this particular day. All right, so I do that. Is that the hour? All right, and then I will also, would I do that? I would not do that yet. Drop to the 15. All right, then I'll be looking at the 15 to see like areas that are overbought, areas that are oversold. I would be looking at like these session areas for like this. It's like consolidation. We got to break to the upside. We got a touch of this trend line, and then we did not necessarily, we broke this structure, but we didn't really break this structure. So I could see why I pulled back again into demand, and then we got a break. And then so what I would be thinking in my mind if I came on this day is that potentially the market could come touch this trend line and make a reaction. And so I would either scalp to this trend line or I will wait. Like it might not be like a trading day for me. It just depends on if the 1 minute or the 5 minute will give me an entry in my session, and I probably, well, my session was over here anyway, so I'm gonna just go to the next day to just see if, where's the trend line at? Did that, did it just disappear? What happened? Wait a minute, it just took me out of where I was. Was I over here? Yeah, I was over here. What the heck? Why did it do that? All right, so this is London. Hopefully I'm in the same area. I'm just getting it back to where it was. So yeah, that happened. And so I'm trying to see if it's gonna come up here to make a reaction. All right. So that happened in London. So I'm just gonna take it to New York. Ooh. Okay, this is New York. Okay. All right. So you see how that kind of happened like in my session, London had brought price up above the trend line. So I would actually be up around this time, and because my chart would be, my chart will already be marked up because I come to the market before this session starts. And so I would have seen, you know, price coming to my trend line and breaking it significantly around, you know, 8:30 morning bell, whatever. And so on the lower time frame, which I don't know if this replay resetted it when I tried to go to the lower time frame. On the lower time frame, I would have my trend line marked up because I will have something under price like this. Let me show you. For me to catch an entry for a sale. So I wouldn't be in any of this because this is my trend line and I need to see how it reacts off the trend line. I'm just trying to catch some of the move because I'm a scalper. And so if it's respecting this trend line and coming inside on the higher time frame, which is a very key supply area, then once it breaks the trend line and comes back and retests and breaks the candle again on the lower time frame, which I know you see this right now, but I'm gonna try to go to the lower time frame because I'm always getting in on the lower time frame to see. Hopefully it didn't reset. Did it? Yeah, it's not letting me see the lower time frame. That really sucks. But anywho, yeah, it just took me all the way back, bro. That really sucks. But I wish I could have showed that. But I will be looking at the lower time frame, and once it breaks out the trend line on the lower time frame, I will be looking for the break because I get in on the break. If I'm getting, if I get in on the break and then if it retests and then, I'm feeling good or something like that, or that's only my second entry, then I'll pop a second entry and put my stops behind the lower time frame candles. I don't use the 15-minute to be like, oh, my stop loss is going behind a 15-minute candle. That's a no-no for me. My stop loss is going behind 1 to 2 candles on the 1 minute or the 5. And most of the time it's the 1 minute. But TradingView is not letting me show you that, which golly. But do you kind of get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do. I get what you mean. I don't think I'm good enough for the 5 minute or the 1 minute candles yet. I'm sort of getting used for the 15-minute entries now, and
yeah.
Next step will be the 5 minute, but I'm not brave enough for the 1 minute yet. I just know I get stopped at about 50 times before I hit it.
Okay, well, if it is the 15-minute for you, are you comfortable putting your stop losses that like this candle?
I'm starting to. Yeah, I mean, I'm starting
like you would put it right here, or where would you put it, behind this candle, or because there's a gap. There's a gap right here, so
it will kind of be a bit more.
Oh, zoom in.
Yeah. Or yeah, I would put it just there.
Because we got our break. This is the 4-hour trend line. It touched it. It came outside to grab some liquidity outside of the 4-hour trend line, and then we dives back in to the 4-hour trend line, and then it had volume, broke this low to the downside. We came back and retest this low that was broken, and then we tanked. So there was a gap to be filled right here, which it did come to fill. It didn't come to fill this gap, which I can see why. But what is this, the morning, evening star pattern?
Yeah, I think that's the evening star pattern, I think.
Yeah, so that was another indication for a reversal in sales. And this candle came to kind of like touch this area, but it didn't come into this gap. But yeah, to me, if you were using the 15-minute, you will want to see the break. You will want to see the candle close below the trend line to get an entry. That's how I would get the entry. And then my stop would be behind the 15-minute candle. If you want to use the wick, you can use the wick. But if you did have the fair value gap indicator on here, you could put it behind the fair value gap indicator. because it really, yeah, if it's breaking below the trend line on the lower time frame, so we got a lot of touches to the downside. But if it's breaking, it should not be coming back in. It should not be coming
Yeah.
back in. You'll want to get out and be like, okay, let me reassess what just happened here. But there was so much confluence. We had overbought in here in this key area that we were looking for price to come touch anyways. And then even when it broke out, it created a bearish, bullish, bearish pattern when it retests the trend line a couple times. So it made a bearish, bullish, bearish. And this was even an entry for some people. If you're like, I really want to see it break like maybe a few lows, maybe some people aren't okay with one low being broken. They want to see two lows being broken. So this low got broken. And this low was broken by a wick, but it got broken by a candle. So if you use the bearish, bullish, bearish pattern as, okay, I'm gonna wait until the candle breaks this pattern, that would have been your entry, and then you could put your stops behind the bearish, bullish, bearish candle, which is also a really good entry too if you like using candle patterns to get in. It's all on the trader. I'm trying to show y'all, how I would do it. Trading views not allowing me, but this is, yeah, let's just say this was the 1 minute that this will be how I would get in, and very small stop loss. And then the way I would know how to take TP is because, of course, I still got this trend line down here, so I want to see a reaction on that. But wherever my fib is on the higher time frame, I will be looking for that area to be touched for the negative 27 level. So, I always drop my fibs on the 4 hours. So I'll be looking at where that target is that way. So let's try this again. We're gonna do USD CAD. All right. Maybe if I don't go back too much, then it will let me. All right, so let's see what we got here. So from what I could see on the 4 hour is that we have like a weird weird pattern going on. What I call this a quasi. This is somewhat of a quasi, but let's just go to, if this is a quasi, this would like be the shoulder. This would be like the head area that broke to the downside to start this downtrend. So of course the quasis don't have to have the equal shoulders like a head and shoulders in this area. So I'll be like, okay, we're trending down because this appears to be a quasi. Yeah, a quasi to the downside. And it did break these lows. So I would be looking to the left to be like, okay, where could price stop? Because we just continue to be breaking lows, and it will be probably be down here. So I will be in my mind like, okay, we're in a downtrend, but if I was to be looking for an uptrend, of course, we need to break up on this trend line right here. So I have that one marked up on the 4 hour. I will go to the hour. See if I see anything. Still look like, lows are being broken consistently. So then if I was trading the day, I always would go to my 15-minute because I just want to see, what price has done in the past couple of days, if it's made any patterns. And I will start marking up my lower time frame trend lines as well on the 15. So I will have something like this for sales, just continued sales. And then I see anything else. I would mark this one up because we got 2 touches, but that one's a little iffy. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second.
No problem.
All right, sorry about that. My younger ones was getting a little too loud. All right. Can you hear me? And you might be on mute.
Yeah, oh sorry. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So this, yeah, I didn't go too far back, so that's probably what it was on GU. I went too far back for testing. It didn't let me go to a lower time frame. So I'm on the 5 minute now. I did put this trend line, but I'm a little iffy about it. It's only 2 touches, but for now, I'm a put it there. But this isn't even my session, so I shouldn't really be putting it there. It's not my session. I feel like the trend line should go by your session. So if you're trading London, you want to see you would have that trend line if you was trading London. So because you trade London, I'm gonna go ahead and put it back there because I actually keep showing you New York and you trade London. So let me put this back.
Yeah.
Because I want you to get familiarized of what you should be looking for in the London session, since especially I only got you on here today. So let's work on
Trend lines I want to get better at too. At getting them.
How
I've barely ever used trend lines to be honest. And everybody draws them differently, so it's kind of hard to know which way
yeah.
to do it properly.
Yes, Jarrell draws them differently than I do. It works for me the way I draw them. I go by the sessions, and I go by the higher time frame. As you can see, I use the zigzag for my touches. So yeah, that's
Yeah, that
unfortunate, but
zigzag indicator great.
the which one? Oh, the
That
zigzag.
is
Yeah.
yeah, zigzag's a brilliant indicator. I really like it now.
Awesome. I'm glad to hear that because it definitely helps me. I wish it was on my other chart that I'm using now with futures, but it's just not. So I miss being able to use TradingView because they have so many nice indicators. But so I would do
Yeah.
that for Asia. And so what I would be looking for Asia, since I have my higher time frame trend line up here to the upside, and then I have my lower trend line to the downside. If it wants to decide to sell, I would go ahead. I'm gonna press play and I'm gonna kind of slow it down to see what happens in Asia. And I'm also paying attention to my TDI. So we got some oversold action happening here. So even though we got a break of this trend line to the downside, okay, this is London, right? So this is London, right? Even though we got a break to the downside, I am not convinced. And the reason why I'm not convinced is because the TDI is oversold. And so there's like conflicting confluence. And so you wanna be careful and pay attention to this type of stuff and not fall for the trap. And so I would not take that sale because I have conflicting confluence. Even though it did break to the low, we still have key demand areas down here from yesterday. Because from yesterday, we saw high broken, touch a trend line, another high broken. It touched this trend line, I guess, in Asia, and then we broke down. To me, that could just be taking out buyers, right? So the fact that London session started and it already has like this little W looking pattern on the 5 minute, I just don't trust it. So I'm gonna slow it down a little bit just to see if it breaks back up. The only way I would take this sell is if it comes up and it breaks down again, and I will have to take it when it breaks like this low right here. That will be the only way I take the sell, because I'm not convinced, because I got conflict and confluence. Do you get that?
Yeah.
Can you see my screen? Okay.
Yes.
All right. So we're gonna see what it does. All right. So it showed us that it broke again this low. So I would take this trade to the downside, because it broke this low again. This one right here, I don't necessarily need this one. So I would take this trade to the downside, and my target, well, this is your session. My target would be my target would be like this area here. Let me drop a fib on it, actually. Let me let the fib give me my target.
That's what I'm wondering. Would that not still be bang up? Because you're getting a bit of bullish divergence there. Because your TDA is making a higher low, but the candlesticks have made a lower low.
Right. Just off of how I would do it, this will be a scalp in London, honestly. I know that I would
Right.
not be holding this trade, because honestly, I'm looking for buys, but it looks like it's gonna do somewhat of like a stop hunt low and then rise, probably in New York. And because this is a USD pair, a Canadian pair, this pair moves in New York. So it probably won't make that buy move until New York fell. But if I was trading London, I could still scalp it to where they're potentially gonna stop hunt low price. So I would get in when it broke this low, and my stops would be above. It won't be above the trend line, because remember, I didn't trust the trend line break, because we were oversold. So my stops will be above like this engulfing candle area right here, which I'll put a short position of how that looks. And my TP will be right here. So actually the entry was not until here. So this will be a very, it's like, I don't trade London, but yeah, this will be a very, like, kind of, is it like worth it to take it? Because you see like, yeah, it's very short. Yeah, the risk for me, like in London, if I saw this price action, it wouldn't be worth it for me to take the trade, because literally my TP is barely giving me a 1-to-1. Some people trade 1-to-1s. I don't. I want to have like a 1-to-2, 1-to-3, something like that.
Same as me.
Um,
I don't like doing 1-to-1s.
yeah, so I'm gonna see if it hits TP, but yeah, I just wouldn't be taking this trade in London. This would be like a no trade day for me, because this is all that the market is giving me, and it's giving me trash. I would call this trash.
Yeah.
So I am gonna see if it at least gives us the 1-to-1, but yeah, this is definitely a scalp. All right. Well, it gave the 1-to-1, and it looked like it's coming for these lows right here. So you see how it's at TP2. So it did give the 1-to-1. How can I explain this? It gave the 1-to-1, but still, it would have been a trash trade. I would have not liked it. I would have not liked taking that at all. At all. But I can understand why it's coming here, because maybe it wants to stop out this low before it goes up.
Yeah.
But still, all in all, I would call this trash. It's a winner, but it is trash. A trashy winner. I do want to see what happens in New York, so I'm gonna just speed it up a little bit here. All right, and you see how we're getting those breaks up to the upside, which that's what we were pretty much looking for to happen. And here's New York. Hold up. Oh, I thought I was pausing it and I was not. All right, so the New York session gave us buy. So remember how I said I will have my trend lines. I will be this will be have been more extended out, that trend line, because this price action, by the time I'm coming to the market, this price action has already created itself. And this one would have been taken, this trend line would have not really been here for me anyways, but someone trade in London, it would need to be there. But kind of see like a little quasi pattern happening a little bit. But because, you know, we got a lot of oversold areas, so we had it over here where it was touching the Bollinger Bands, and then we also had it here before New York, touching this area. We did get a break of the trend line, which is a higher time frame trend line, which was what I was waiting for. And then in New York, I would see, you know, it come back and retest. It retests the trend line here, and it kind of retests here as well. And I will pop an entry for the buy. But let me tell you where the target would be. So let me go ahead and take this off. So, and the reason why I'm drawing the lower time frame fib right here is because it broke to the upside, this structure, this minor, very minor structure right here. So TP1 would be right here, TP2. So I'm gonna do a long position right here after I help my son. Hold on real quick. All right, sorry about that. All right, so let me put a long position. And I don't have Jarrell with me today to keep them tame, so I do apologize. He's out running some errands. All right, so oh, it is not even this one. All right, so I would have been in the trade when it broke the trend line right here, so about this area, and I would not be using that whole entire candle. So, but I would want it to be at least a 1 or 2. So my stops would be about right there. And this is first TP. So, and then this is TP2. and then TP3. So we're going to see if we get a runner. We got TP2. In TP2, you want to draw a trend line, so I will already be out this trade, and I want to tell you why. Because you want to keep as much profit as you can, unless you want to keep the runner for TP3, but sometimes it's just not that worth it, because that's a 1-4 at TP2. No, I'm sorry, not a 1-4. It's a 1-3, 3.6. Almost a 1-4. You want to continue when you're in your trade and you got these zigzags. The way that I like to do it is I could do it like this, where I'm on the lower time frame and I really don't want it to break like this little lower time frame trend line. I don't know if it'll let me do it on the 1 minute, but if you want to really really keep it tight, you could use the 1 minute zigzags. And it actually would have been probably something more like this because price went way up here. So I would have been out of this trade when I got this candle break right here in this area the first time around. I would have took my profit. So I would have made about a 1-3 anyway, 1-3 even or whatever on the trade. When you're in profit, key thing is like you see a big old candle with a lot of volume, and then you see the candle get broken. Already in your mind, that should be like, something's not right, right? So you could use this candle because it has so much money in it as like, okay, if this candle gets broken, I don't want this trade anymore. And even if you see it go more than 50% of this candle, you might in your mind be like, it's not really worth holding because yeah, honestly, price shouldn't be coming back into more than 50% of the candle. Like 75% is just way too much, but you even got a break. So there's just so much confluence to get out the trade at this area. But you could use a trend line if you want to with the zigzag on like the 1 minute or the 5, and then you will secure your profit that way. But that's how I would trade it. Do you have any questions about that? Because I know that was a little, I want you to be able to start seeing it. And you're on mute if you don't know. All right.
All right, yeah. Yeah, John, can you go over that bit again?
Oh, okay. From the beginning.
Yeah, from the kind of how you would have got out again, 75% of it.
Oh, okay, yeah. So let me bring the candle up here because we had a lot of volume to the upside, right? So you want to see this when you get a break of a candle and a retest or whatever, and you pop your entry in, things like that. Yeah, you might see some consolidation, but you want to start to see some strong volume happen in your direction. So once that volume starts to exhaust itself, you want to be totally aware of that because now you're managing a profitable trade. So you want to be aware of exhaustion, right? And so we got some candle exhaustion down here after we had a significant push to the upside. So we see exhaustion here, but then we get some more volume to the upside, right? But this particular candle right here on the lower time frame on the 5 minute, this one right here that went to the highest point, which is actually, it broke the New York lunchtime high. It broke that. So it broke the high of New York's lunchtime. So this candle right here, pretty much, according to this indicator, broke like it broke a significant how can I say? It broke a significant area, which to me was this this little order block area right here on the left. So it broke that order block to the upside. Because remember, some people want to take sales right here, right? Because this is an order block. So it broke the order block. So maybe it took out some pending orders that had sales, because maybe they had their pending position here and then stops right behind or whatever. They wanted to grab this money or whatever. So on the lower time frame, I was saying, use your zigzag chart so that you can still see like your lows being created, and when you're in profit, you don't really want like because we got a gap that got created here. So you don't want these lows to be broken to the downside, because then that's showing you, okay, we could potentially sell if lows get broken to the downside, because that's what we always look for, right? We look for breaker structure, and then we look for retest, and then we look for entries. So you got this low here got broken to the downside with this, but you already had your trend line because you had a low created here and you had a low created here. And I don't know if this thing is blocking because I know my zigzag is gray, but the low is right here, and then you got a low right here, and then it broke. So this is a minor somewhat of a quasi, honestly, at a TP area. And remember, I told you guys that quasis create themselves at very key areas. That means also TP areas. You're going to see this pattern because it's a reversal pattern. So is the head and shoulders. So you want to pay attention to that, but you can always draw your trend line, and I'll draw up that quasi because this is how you're going to really like how can you say scale in on your trades when you could take the most out of it. Why do I not see it? It's down here. So this is a little baby quasi at the -618 area. And this is just is minor, but it has a lot of power, as you can see. It's baby, but it's at a very key area at the -618. That's TP2 for us. It didn't make a quasi at TP1, right? It didn't. So we're cool. We're smooth sailing. What it is doing, and it is creating a gap. It's creating a gap because the buyers are in there. There's no sellers to counter the buy, right? So it's creating a gap in the area, but we don't see the quasi showing, oh, okay, we could possibly pull back, but we do see a quasi at TP2. So if you're a scalper, you want to manage your trade in key areas when you start to see the candles doing certain things. And this is a good area to be like, I don't really want to hold this trade no more. I'll take my TP2 and I'm gonna run with the bag at this point. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna go to TP3. It's not worth it. Or whatever. So that's what I was saying. This is a baby quasi. Remember, what I always do for my quasi patterns is that I draw a trend line on the quasi pattern, because guess what I'm doing? I'm always getting in on the right shoulder, right? So guess what? This is a potential selling entry for me anyways, but I do it on the higher time frame. You know what I'm saying? So why would I be holding this trade if I see a selling quasi pattern, if this will be a selling entry for me on a higher time frame? What I'm gonna do the same thing that on a lower time frame that I do on a higher time frame, because that's how I've been able to see the market, and that's how I feel the algorithm is for me or whatever. So I'm out this trade when it breaks this trend line. So I'm gonna more than likely be out right here because that was a break. It did pull back in. Some people might jump back in like, oh, it's still buying. No. You don't want to do that. If you were thinking that this market is still buying, you got to have more confluence. Like, why are you continuing that buy? Now, I'm not saying that this is not still going to buy way up here, but yeah, you just don't know. Like, when you coming into the market, you coming to get what you didn't have before, right? So I got a 1 to 3 on this trade. That should be enough. Like, you risked one and you got 3. It's good enough. But so what I do kind of see happening is this pullback. Like, if it were to go to this area, I will be looking for the pullback to come, like maybe test, like, like how I said this was a gap that got created. I would be looking for the gap to be filled, and then potentially on the lower time frame, another trend line being broken up to the upside. That would be the only way I will hop back in after I've already secured money. I will hop back in for another buy if it showed me more confluence, because mind you, we do got it oversold again. So yeah, it might set back up, but you don't want to hold pullback. Like as a scalper, you don't want to hold any pullbacks. You just want your trade to run.
No.
So
Yeah.
so you want to get out, you want to secure your money, and then boom, if it sets again in the direction that you were already taking it, then you get another entry with smaller risk, and then you take that risk to see if it's gonna go to maybe TP3, because it can most definitely do that, which I am gonna run it to be like, okay, are we gonna go to TP? Are we gonna go to TP3? But we already hit TP2. My day is done. And plus when you're trading your session and stuff like that, look at what time it is. It's New York PM. The market already gave me pretty much more than likely what it's gonna give for the day, right? You got to take that into consideration as well. If your session is done, London, you took a trade, you got to pay attention to the time, because the market has that type of sequence as well. It's only going to give but so much in each session per day. That's why we have day traders. It's only going to give up so much. It may go to your target, as a swing trader if you're holding from the higher time frame, but as for the day and you're a scalper, you got to take what you can get and get out. But I'm gonna just play this, and
Yes.
but go ahead, what you were
That's
gonna
what
say.
I'm trying to learn. What I'm sort of trying to learn now with this. Even looking at it day trading, you're only going to get so much each day, and you have to learn to take whatever. Just trying to
Exactly.
change my mindset because I'm kind of a fixed swing trader at the minute,
Right.
but I tend to hold a bit longer than I should at times.
Yeah. And yeah, I'm really trying to get you to see, like, yeah, how you gotta be in and out. You gotta be in and out. Even though you're like drawing your markups from the higher time frame, on the day of that you're trading, you have to see the potential of what it could do both ways. And that's why I use trend lines. That's why I use supply and demand. Um, that's why I like using the TDI, because I want to see what it could potentially do on both sides. I'm only going to get in trades of it is showing me a direction, and I may not like the direction, because guess what? I mean, any trader should really like to be like, I'm only trying to go in the trend direction, but the market's not going to go in the trending direction every single day or
Yeah,
whatever. So that's another thing. Once you can like really zone in on what it does in the areas that it has to come feel and touch, you have to, yeah, you got to be on your P's and Q's, and hop in when they're showing you, okay, we want to come touch this lower area. Oh, we want to come touch this higher area. You got to have a nice strategy to show you, okay, I see what you're doing. All right, so let me
yeah,
see if this is going to break back up. It is. It's breaking back up. So we got this. Actually, this trend line is a little wonky, but we did get two touches. Then we got a break. So if you wanted to, you could be back in this trade with your, if you got in, whether you got in, honestly, if you got in on this break, you would have been stopped out. But if you got in on this break, you would have been stopped out as well. So, and that's
yeah,
why I say it's not worth it. Because look what session this is now. This is Asia. This is where they like taking
yeah.
people taking people
Yeah,
money.
it's just the middle of the night for me. I wouldn't even have seen any of this by now.
Exactly. And guess what it did in Asia? Ooh, ooh. Yikes. But yeah, you wouldn't have seen all of that. So this is the stuff I don't like. So Asia, sometimes I'll come back to like the charts or whatever the next morning, and I'd be like, dang, you hit TP3 or whatever, but it only gave me TP2 in New York, and I hate that about the market because I'm not a swing trader. But like I'll wake up like that next morning, I'll be like, dang, so you just gonna go without me, like or whatever, and because I don't know, it's just something about like the algorithm. It's just not going. I don't. Yeah, I think that's what it is. Like for the most part, like on the news days, sometimes I can get it to go to like all the way where I'm trying to get it. But you always just gotta scalp like on my session because it's more than likely not gonna give me the whole move in my session unless it's like news, New York news or
Yeah,
whatever. But yeah, this is a good example. It hit TP3 and guess where it came? Remember what I said? I said it left a gap area right here, all this money. There was no
yeah,
seller, there was no sellers to counter these buyers, but guess what? There there was some sellers and it showed us a very key area where some sellers came in to counter the buyers. The market works in the algorithm. It has to fill in this high. It has to. At some point, we never know when, but we do know it eventually has to. And this is why my chart end up looking like a damn my bad. My chart end up looking like a map that's like all these little crazy markups and stuff like that. Cause I know this. I know they gotta come touch this and make a reaction. And guess what it did? It came and
it did.
it played at the area. It it made somewhat of a quasi pattern at that area, which y'all
It did make quasi, yeah, see it.
you see it. Oh,
Yeah,
it made somewhat what of a quasi pattern and boom. Though that's the people who trade Asian session. I kudos to them. They caught a nice trade or whatever. Especially if they waited, they didn't get in before their session started. You know how some people try to get in before their bell or whatever, before the session
yeah,
starts, and then they get all jacked up because it was like showing you, maybe like, oh yeah, we want to buy. Nope, we're gonna take your money. Oh, we're gonna buy. Oh, nope, we're gonna stop you out too. Because your stop's probably behind this low. We're gonna stop you out too. Oh no, we're gonna break structure, pull back every single time. When you can see this, it happens every single time. So kudos to the Asian session who caught that trade. They hit TP3. But honestly, guess what? They didn't get the entry that the New York session got. You gotta keep that in mind. We got our entry way down here, right? So they
yeah,
pretty much, if you look at it from like how can you say, they got around like the same amount. Like it was probably like a 1 to 3 as well. They got around the same amount that the New York session got as well. And if you look at London when we took the sale, because guess what? London didn't even go to the upside. We were looking for that, but London didn't even go to the upside. London session gave around the same amount as New York and Asia for a trade that was actually valid. So you kind of
yeah,
see how they like move the money. They gave anyone trade in London a good trade. They gave anyone trade in New York a good trade. They gave anyone trade in Asia a good trade. You just have to know what you're looking for. I was a little nervous
right,
about
yeah,
London, but London actually did pull in at least a 1 to 3. Uh-oh, my kid's trying to show me some drawings they did. Oh, these are so nice. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So that's that. And look how crazy my chart looks. It just looks crazy. Hold on. Let me
yeah.
get them quiet real quick. Hold on. All right, I'm back. So let's go to. You want to see something else? This was USD CAD, and these are pairs that I do not even trade. So what I'm trying to like get through to you guys is that this happens on everything, no matter what you're trading. You do have those volatile pairs from time to time. You just if you're trading a volatile pair, you gotta trade it, or you gotta practice on it and get used to how it moves. That's just it. Like, especially like, gold, for the people who trade gold and stuff like that. Yeah, it likes to grab a lot of liquidity, but if you're trading a pair, just get used to how that looks. Because once you can get used to, like, how when I drew that trend line on the 4 hour, it had grabbed liquidity to make you think that it was gonna buy, but then it came right back inside. You got to get used to that. But guess what? When it came back inside, it had already shown you that it was like an evening star, so you shouldn't have been, well, if you scalped it to the upside, that would have been cool, but you shouldn't have been holding it anyways if you saw that pattern on the 4 hour be created.
Yeah.
But all right, so we're gonna look at, I think it was AU last week or 2 weeks ago. That didn't look too well. Which one? Oh,
NASDAQ.
okay. All right, let's go to NAS.
You know who this is, right?
Yeah.
I'm just,
You funny.
you don't gotta look at NASDAQ. I was just messing with you. What's up, Colin?
You're funny. All
Hey,
right.
Jarrell, how's it going?
Hey, how you doing, man?
Yeah, doing well. And yourself?
I'm doing good. Hey, you want to eat Waffle House?
Oh my gosh, that stuff's so heavy. No, I don't. Mm-mm.
Or anything else?
Mm, somewhere where I could get like a salad.
At this time in the morning? Where?
Oh, it is still early.
All right.
It feel like lunchtime though. I've been up since forever.
All right.
I don't know. I'll text you.
Okay.
All right. All right. So actually, I'm gonna look at AU right now, and oh yeah. So Colin, did you watch the fair value gap video at all? And did you have any questions about that video? Because I know you were saying you were wanting to see more of how that works.
Yeah, I've watched it. I watched it. I think I'm starting to get it. I'm gonna watch it again tomorrow,
Okay.
like today. I'll watch it. But I think I'm starting to understand it. I've been really more looking for them, as you said, right by the like near the supply and demand zones.
Mm-hmm. Um, so for like the fair value gaps, we'll go over that a little bit since it's only you on here. Um, you see how like you got this one up here, you got this one right here on the hour chart. You want these areas really, like, to me, you want to use uh the FVGs like on the higher time frame. So like something I like to do when I'm using them is that I might like go like this and mark them up on the higher time frame. It's kind of like how I used to do that for order blocks, but I do that for the imbalances now, and I'll just mark them up on the higher time frame. And so then when I'm dropping down to the lower time frame, they're kind of like zone areas, and it's a little funny because they're actually showing me like some nice supply areas as well. But I'll do something like that on the higher time frame and mark them up that way so I could see the more key areas that the market can come to and create a reaction. So this one was actually very nice on AU because it came right into the imbalance and started to have a huge reaction, right? So we got blue, Sell, buy, sell, and then we had a break. And so what that would look like on the 1 minute, if I was trading that in New York, uh, it doesn't really have a trend line, but it did create a M pattern. And so I told you guys that I do still look at M's and W patterns and stuff like that for like stop hunt highs and stop hunt lows. And it did create an M pattern. And rarely I still trade this pattern, but I still see the pattern. Would I have been in this trade? I'm not too sure because of the volatility on it. But if I was in a trade, my entry would have been more of like a supply and demand entry. So I probably would have gotten in off of, no, I don't know if I would have been in this, honestly. I don't really do supply and demand entries anymore. But if I were to do a supply and demand entry, it would be like a rejection and then the break of the candle and then my stops above the candle. Not only really would have got a scalp before it pulled back in. Would I have popped a second entry? Possibly. And then of course the same rule would apply, is that I will wait for the bullish candle that came into the imbalance to be broken. So it would have been this candle right here when it broke, and my stops above the double top, and then take that down. So this day, like I was telling Mustafa, that this has been looking pretty ugly. It hasn't really been showing us anything. So I wouldn't really be trading AU at this point in time. If I go mark it up on the 4-hour, I think we had already did that. We need some more. We need this to break out of some of the consolidation that has been. But I think I marked it up for y'all already. I would have like a trend line going like this, and a trend line for sales below here like this. And we've already had like a break to the downside, so it is potential sales when the market opens back up. For me to be safe with AU, I will really honestly, let me see how the 15-minute look. Honestly, yeah, I would need at least this low to be broken, but also at the same time, this one, I don't think this is even a lot of pips, but this low and this low, I'll be looking for it to be broken on the 15-minute. So depending on when the market opens, like when my session comes, like what has happened with this low and this low on the 15-minute chart, I will be going off of that on how I would make a move. So it's just too early to tell right now at AU on this pair. Let me see. There is a buying fair value gap, because I know we was just talking about fair value gaps. I think I went a little bit off topic. There's one down here. So honestly, because I wanted to break this low as well, I would really want to see how it reacts off of this gap right here too, because it could totally just bounce up and go to the upside. Because I don't think I'm convinced on the sell, honestly. I don't think I am. Maybe. Let me see. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I'm not really. I'm not really convinced. There's a gap area on the 4-hour. Honestly, the reason why I'm not convinced is, let me show you this gap area that I see. That it just came into with a big old huge wick. It just came into this gap area and it wicked up. So that's why I'm not too convinced on the sell right now, and I need to see more confluence, because it didn't like come deeper into it or break it. So until it like, yeah, it just needs to show me
AU
more.
typically goes AU normally goes the same way as gold, and I think gold's starting to buy up
Mm,
for a bit. So I think you're right. It might start buying up soon.
yeah.
That was maybe just a stop hunt or a liquidity grab, even whatever you call it, on
Hmm.
Friday.
Yeah. So not convinced. So that's how I'll be looking at it. So that's for AU. Did you have any more things that you wanted to go over? Because we got about 10 minutes before I really wanted to stop, but it's up to you. Did you have any more questions or anything else you wanted to look at that you might be trading next week?
No, I haven't yet. I haven't done any markups yet today to see what's happening during the week. What about
All right, so
Nas and them? Are they doing anything?
Oh, Nas? Okay. Nas and S&P, all them have
I'm gonna tell y'all,
been,
Colin, that I was gonna do a Zoom call with y'all.
ooh,
Uh, did you hear me?
What? No, I didn't. What were you saying?
I said I was gonna do a Zoom call with you guys.
Oh, that'd be cool. When are you thinking?
When would you be free? Cause I trade totally different from her. My chart gonna look different from hers, but but I'm going to show you guys what I'm doing. I haven't showed you guys what I've been doing lately, so I'm going to show you
I mean,
guys
if you're
what
free during if you're free during the week, I will be like, I'm up for it.
okay, like what time though?
probably like London, right? London session.
Yeah, but London or New York, even London or New York might be good. I'll be free New
Oh,
York too.
okay, and I'm thinking about also because I was thinking about also showing you guys like because y'all in the group a live session too,
That
Ooh,
would
like
be
New
really
York
good,
session.
actually.
New York session, so you can kind of see how I trade and what I'm looking at. Because with her strategy, that if you're using her strategy, with what I'm doing, it could help you to see potential entries. Um,
Yeah,
if you're using that strategy there, it will help you get really good entries and stuff like that. So if you would like,
that would be really good.
I don't know if she told you, but I trade footprints. Do you trade footprint? You ever heard of footprint charts?
I've heard of it. I've heard of the footprint. I haven't traded it before. So I haven't. It looks really complicated. Is
It's
it
not that
that
is.
what
complicated.
you?
I thought no, it's not that complicated. I thought it was. It's really
You know
Is
Jarrell,
that what you
he
trade
the
now?
more advanced. Yeah, he trading that.
I love footprint stuff. Though. I've heard that it's really good. I don't understand it. It just looks like a bunch of weird numbers and stuff.
Numbers.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I thought too. When I first seen it, I was like, "What the hell is all these numbers?"
Well,
That
that'll
would
be
be good to
nice.
see that.
So
Yeah, some
That
started to
would.
figure. I started to figure it out. It's not really that difficult, and I mean, for the most part, you don't have to learn everything about the footprint chart to make money. You just need to learn a couple things that works for you with your own strategies
Yeah.
that you already use. So it's not like, oh, you use that and you don't look at your chart. Like you still look at your charts, but I'll show you guys what I'm talking about. It'll make sense, like of what I'm doing. But like I said, I'm showing you guys what I'm doing. It ain't for you guys to trade it. Like you don't have to. I'm going to do a live session with it because I want to show you guys like how it looks in live session and what's happening, so you can see basically all it is basically showing you, you know, the buyers and sellers in the market. It's all it's showing. But
yeah.
like I said,
Yeah.
I'm not going to go too in depth on it over here on the call. I just want to let you know. I just want to see if you guys was willing to get on a live session or, like I said, do a Zoom call with you guys first to let you guys know what I'm looking at first, and then you know go from there because I think it could help maybe some people if you figure it out. Like I said, trading is all about figuring out what works for you. So if it doesn't work for you, then you don't have to do it. But I still would like to show you guys because if it was maybe the person you try to learn it from that was make it difficult than what it is. Well, the person I found out with it, it was just making it very simple. It's not rocket science. It's just numbers.
Yeah. Oh well, you know me. Count me in. You can always count me in. I'm
Right. Yeah.
definitely up for it.
And it will also highlight so it highlights the areas that are that are the most important too. So I have it set that way too. So it is not you will know when the most important when a lot of volume had came in the market. So yeah, it's nice, but like I said, I'm not gonna go too in depth in it. I'm gonna let her finish her video Zoom with you, right?
Yeah, I'll set up a time that is good for everybody, so everybody could know in advance and be available during London or New York for that live session. So I'll get with y'all so that we all could be on one accord with that, because I want to be there too, if possible. All right. So
That
for
would be amazing.
Nas,
I'm excited.
yeah. For Nas, I'm just gonna do this quick markup on Nas, because we did have a quasi pattern, right? Oh, I always do that. It had a quasi pattern that was a bullish quasi, which people got some money out of that. So we had this happen, but right now what we have going on is that it's touched this trend line and kind of like rejected.
Yeah, it's given
There is a
the bearish one now.
Yes, that's what I was gonna say. So now we're showing this break. Oh God, why do I keep pressing that one? I need this one off my screen. All right, so now we're showing the break here. And then it looks like we could pull back into this gap area and possibly do this. But guess what? My trend line is always going to save me from a headache. So I'm not getting in a trade until I see that it's broken, these two touches of this trend. So it could pull back all it want to. What I do want to happen before I take any further buys, because I wanted to look something like this before. Remember I told y'all, like, sometimes you'll get a bullish, like this bullish quasi over here, you'll get price to like pull all the way back, but then it let me do a trend line for that. Then it'll break like this. Y'all make that black. Oh, was that black? Thought it was black. Anyways, but it'll break like that. Sometimes that'll happen. Like you'll have this bullish. You're like, oh, okay, we're going. But then it pulls all the way back into the demand area, which there is a gap here that got filled, and then it'll reverse. So this is why my trend lines, I like to see them this way, is because if we're going to continue the sales, we're going to break back below. But just the way it works, it's going to break, it's going to retest, and then it's going to continue. But if it actually is still if this bullish quasi is still valid, we've already pulled it to demand, so it's going to break to the upside, pull back, and then continue. So that's what I'm looking for on NAS, period. And this is the 4 hour. So I'm not gonna take this marking off my chart, because that's exactly what I'm looking for. What I might do though is this one, I'm just gonna change the color so that I can remind myself that it's a different color. Oh, that's wrong.
They said sugar sweet watermelon seedless. Who wants that?
So yeah, so that's what I'm looking for on NAS, period. Like I already see my bullish quasi, I already see my selling quasi. I need a break to the downside, or I need a continue to the upside on my lower time frames. Right? So at this point, it's just a waiting game. So that's what I see. Do you got questions about that, Colin?
No, that's good. That's good. No, I'm getting it. I understand that.
Okay. All right. Well,
Hey,
did you want to see any of the other indices before we get off?
No, I'm gonna get off here myself. I'm gonna go
Okay.
get something to eat now.
All right, cool. All right, well, thank you guys for coming, and I will see you on the next one. I will drop this on YouTube so you guys can have it in the training playlist to continue to watch and study, and yeah, enjoy the rest of your weekend.
That's brilliant. Thanks very much for the both of you. This was a great session. I like this one.
Thank you so much. We'll see you soon.
Yep. See you later. Have a good one.
All right, bye.
Bye.